In this video, I'll take you through our solar PV and Tesla Powerwall 2 performance for August 2020, along with our Tesla Model 3 and Kona electric costs and usage. I also have an update on the phantom power drain video that I did, so stay tuned. Hi, John here and welcome. In this video, I'll take you through our solar PV and Tesla Powerwall 2 performance for the month of August 2020, plus the usual stats and usage information on the Tesla Model 3, the Hyundai Kona electric and the myenergi, Eddi and Zappi, and Uncle Tom Cobley and all. So also stay tuned to the end of this video as I'll give you an update on some very interesting news around the phantom draw power issue that I've been having from the grid. And I and many other Sept 2 electric smart meter owners and Tesla Powerwall 2 owners have been experiencing. And it's actually a very positive outcome. So yeah, stay tuned to the end for that. In other events in August, it was about 10 p.m. on Thursday the 27th. Our electric smart meter basically died. Well, more accurately, the comms hub. So all the little LEDs indicated deadness. They're normally flashing constantly like a router or a network switch or something like that. But now they flash in unison every 5 seconds or so rather than their normal frantic activity. So this affected initially both the gas and the electric data, and our in-house display was showing waiting for current data, which it was doing for quite some time. I've seen this message before and it normally corrects itself within 24 hours, so I waited until the next day. Next day arrived, still nothing on the in-house display, it was showing the same message. So I moved the in-house display nearer to the meter as the data is transferred over Wi-Fi signal generated from the smart meter, the HAN, the home area network, and no change. So I reported the problem to Octopus.energy early Saturday and sent them a direct message, a DM via Twitter, which they responded to very quickly. And they said they would pass it on to their metering team to investigate, and it would be about a week. The gas readings then miraculously sort of reappeared the same day, and I don't think the two were connected. It was just a coincidence, but still no electric readings. And if I log on to my online account with Octopus.energy, I can only see electric data up until Wednesday the 26th, and then nothing afterwards, meaning that the data's not getting through to Octopus.energy either. So it looks like the readings aren't getting through. I'll just have to wait basically. The gas is actually showing correctly, ironically, not that we're using any gas at the moment, but at least it's recording the data. And we're still getting electricity, so that's fine. It's just not recording the half-hourly usage and therefore won't be working out how much I've been using stroke saving. Thankfully for August stats, it's okay. I've managed to work out the data for that. September might be a little bit more tricky. Talk more about that later. Between sort of filming this and preparing this video, I've received a reply from Octopus.energy. And they've actually arranged for an engineer to visit to perform a power cycle of the electric meter. And this is booked for the 6th of October, which was their earliest appointment. So just over a month away. So as I say, September's video might be slightly interesting because I won't be able to record everything as I have been doing. But hey-ho, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So let's get on to August performance. In the description down below, there's a list of all our components in our system. So please have a look down there if you're not familiar with our system and our setup. Our monthly solar PV generation chart, bring that up for you. So in August, we produced a total of 702 kilowatt hours from our 2 separate arrays. And we had an average daily solar generation of 22.7 kilowatt hours for the month. And as you can see, the total is not great, almost the same as what we achieved in March, but absolutely nowhere near April, May, June or July's totals. It was a wet, grey month, certainly around our parts, and separated in two parts really, as you'll see when we have a look at the day-to-day in a bit. The solar PV totals for both arrays, let's have a look at that chart. So our 4 kilowatt array produced 440 kilowatt hours, and our new 2.34 kilowatt array produced 263 kilowatt hours. As I said, August was a month of mixed. I'm sure I say that every month actually, thinking back about it, but it was certainly sunshine and showers for August. Let's have a look at our percentage of contribution to the Powerwall and solar to our overall house's self-power. We started the month on self-power mode on the Powerwall, and that ran up until 8:45 a.m. on the 13th of August. Very precise, only because I wrote it down. The 13th and the 14th was predicted to be rainy, overcast, with very little sunshine. Those predictions did actually turn out to be very accurate. The weather was so changeable for the rest of the month that I kept the Powerwall on cost-saving mode to ensure there was enough charge in the battery to power the house during the peak period of 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So in short, we started the month in self-power and then moved to cost-saving mode in the middle of the month and kept it on cost-saving mode for the rest of the month, and probably will keep it on cost-saving mode now till the end of, well, till spring next year. Hey-ho. The Powerwall was great at delivering a constant 5 kilowatts, which means we can do sort of cooking during the peak period without worrying about pulling from the grid. We're on the Octopus.energy Agile tariff, and often the price of a unit of electricity during peak is around 25 to 30 pence per unit of electricity. Therefore, it's good to know that we don't actually have to use the power during those expensive times. And that's the idea of the Agile tariff, is to move your usage away from that peak time when it's most expensive and in highest demand. So for August, we were 77% self-powered with a combination of the Powerwall and our solar panel contributions. And of that 77%, 50% of it came from a solar and 27% came from the Powerwall. You can clearly see on this chart the drop in solar production here, 10% down on last month. The Powerwall did a good job between managing our power usage between peak and off-peak, and let me just show you that chart. This is the monthly percentage Powerwall self-powered for peak and off-peak times. The months are along the bottom, and they're only populated with data when we're actually in cost-saving mode with the Powerwall. So this allows me to track how effective the Powerwall has been during that peak time. As you can see, we were 98% self-powered during peak time of 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. over the month. Well, I say over the month, it's over from when we moved across to cost-saving mode from self-powered mode. At off-peak rate, the Powerwall was able to supply the house for 50% of the time, well, 49% of the time to be totally accurate. If we look at the year-on-year chart for our PV panels for August, it goes back to 2012. The totals for years 2012 to 2019 will be for the 4 kilowatt system, and the 2020 figure is for both arrays. If you recall, we had the original 4 kilowatt array that produced 440 kilowatt hours for August. Actually, as you can see there, if you compare the like for like, the 4 kilowatt against the other 4 kilowatts on the previous years, it's our second worst year since records began. So yeah, not great. Let's have a look at the Powerwall in and out. The Powerwall had a round trip efficiency of 88% for the month. And if we look at the lifetime, we have 89% round trip efficiency, which is just slightly under what Tesla recommends at 90%. So within the month, we stored 248 kilowatt hours into the battery and pulled or supplied 217 kilowatt hours. Let's move on, have a look at the day-by-day chart. This chart gives you more detail as it shows the day-by-day breakdown. So the key or legend is blue is our house usage, yellow is solar generation, red is pulled from the grid, and orange is excess exported to the grid. And just have a look at those yellow bars, which represent the solar. So we had a great start up until the 12th of August, as I said in my introduction. Then basically disaster. That's the day I swapped from self-powered mode to cost-saving mode on the Powerwall because it was predicted to be very, very poor from the 12th onwards. And that sort of carried on for the rest of the month. The solar was not great, as you can see. So many days with low generation. It really takes a hit on your month's total if you've got the majority of the days towards the back end of the month or half the month with very low solar generation. And as a result, poor solar generation means more grid pull. And you can see that happening in the red columns from the 13th onwards. Again, that's the Powerwall pulling from the grid during off-peak to charge up the battery, or the Powerwall deciding to power the house from the grid, again during off-peak. So let's have a look at our overall totals. So this gives us our overall totals for the 4 data sources we just looked at in the day-to-day. So the house usage is the key one, I guess, to look at and compare. So 860 kilowatt hours the house consumed during the month. We've already looked at the solar production totals, and we're about to look in more detail at the grid import and export. So I'm not going to go into those details there, but at least you can see the 4 sets of figures. I guess the takeaway is that solar didn't provide all the requirements that the house needed, in short. Let's move on to have a look at the grid usage then. So this chart looks at our daily average grid and house usage. Our average daily usage was 27.7 kilowatt hours. And on average each day we pulled 7.7 kilowatt hours from the grid. Average grid pull was up due to lower solar production and a trend that's undoubtedly going to increase over the coming months as we head towards autumn and winter. This chart looks at what we sent to the grid, and we sent 95.7 kilowatt hours of excess solar generation back to the grid in August. And most of that was in sort of dribs and drabs over each day, so it wasn't a big excess that we couldn't use. Often everything was charged, so the hot water was hot and charged by the eddi, and the cars were also charged up as well. So it was really true excess. It just happened at the wrong times. This chart is the monthly total from the grid. So in August we pulled a total of 239 kilowatt hours from the grid, which is twice as much as we did in July. We did a couple of long trips in the Tesla, which meant we charged from the grid. Plus our glass workshops have started up again in August, which meant the glass kilns were on more frequently overnight on the cheaper agile tariff rate, because we knew we wouldn't get any solar during the day to be able to run them purely from solar power. If we have a look at the eddi, which heats our hot water, in the month of August, the eddies diverted 54 kilowatt hours of solar excess energy to heat our hot water. That gives us a year-to-date total of 308 kilowatt hours, with a total cumulative since its installation on the 22nd of July 2019 of 381 kilowatt hours. I've taken the cost savings there at 5 pence per kilowatt hour, which is probably a little low if I'm honest. The average agile price is around 8 pence per kilowatt hour, so you could sort of work out the savings that way. But anyway, that's the savings that are listed there. Let's move on and have a look at the Zappi. So the August stats for the Zappi are for 2 cars. Tesla's actually gone a bit mad this month. We've covered 731 miles in the month, which brings its total to 5,150 miles. Still very low mileage because it's almost a year old. Well, it's actually a year old on the 28th of September. And I will be doing a video on that of 12 months of ownership, so watch out for that. The Kona covered 131 miles in a month and now has a total mileage of 10,188 miles. Both cars had some public charging. The Kona had one session at a pod point in Rushden Lakes, which was a free vend and added 12.8 kilowatt hours. The Model 3 had two supercharging sessions at what now must be my favourite location, Barnsley Supercharger Stalls. It's a two-stall charger at Tankersley Manor Hotel near Barnsley. It's quiet, it's tucked away, and it's very convenient when we're visiting Jill's mum up in Rotherham. Two charging sessions on the superchargers added 82.2 kilowatt hours to the Tesla, and the two trips there and back added 480 miles to the total figure for the Tesla. So it's really been a rocking month for the Tesla in August, put a lot of miles on it, by comparison to previous months where we had done very little. Charging on the Zappi at home, we've added 198.52 kilowatt hours, and that's all gone to the Model 3. The Kona was not charged at home for the month, basically. It still had a high state of charge from the previous month at around 75%, can't remember the exact figure. And because it doesn't suffer from phantom drain, once it's charged, it sort of stays at that temperature, at that percentage of charge. And as I say, we didn't use it very much, so it didn't really drop the state of charge. I do seem to have a lot of phantom drain in my life, though. So the Tesla has phantom drain, the Tesla Model 3, and also our grid has phantom drain. Hey-ho. So let's have a look at costs. Now, as you can see here, I've split between grid and green energy for solar. So it was 69% green energy and 21% grid energy. The cost for that was £3.66 to pull from the grid for those 60.43 kilowatt hours. Works out at 6 pence per kilowatt hours. And finally, I said in the intro I'd give you an update on progress on the phantom power pull from the grid. So in short, if you're not familiar with this, there is a video for that up here. I'll link that up there if you want to see the full detail. We're pulling power from the grid even though we are showing as being self-powered on the Tesla Powerwall, e.g. we shouldn't be pulling from the grid in those circumstances. The video had over 130 comments, my most commented and talked about video. So thank you all very much who took the time to watch it, to add your thoughts, your experiences and data into the comments, and who shared and liked. It was very, very helpful to promote the problem and the issue and get that video out and the message out to a wider audience. And it certainly seems to have done the trick. So yeah, really appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm really pleased with the reaction and the response that video has had. I've also received a positive response from Octopus.energy, and I quote, I'll bring it up so you can have a look. Their original reply was to my email to them, which was a question of whether I'm being charged for reactive energy. And their original reply didn't reach me for some reason, so I reached out to them again, and then I had a DM message from Phil, who I was chatting to on Twitter. And he said, found it. I replied to you on the 10th of August at 4:36 p.m. And what he went on to say was, meters are reading active power. The issue isn't related to reactive power. So all my theories are dashed. We've done the tests, and between us, Tesla and LNG, we're writing an article to publish on our site. We will then be replacing meters and applying credit, which is absolutely super news. And I'm really eagerly awaiting the article to read up about, what's the reason. But I guess reading between the lines, if they're replacing the meter, then there must be something wrong with the LNG meter, or how it's programmed, or its firmware, or whatever. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see what that's all about in due course. But it is really good news. I'm really pleased with that. And I will do a follow-up video once I have more information as well, and how the smart meter fares after its power cycle. So it's all meters at the moment, so they're going to do the power cycle on the 6th of October to try and bring it back to life. It may even end up being changed. I don't know if it won't come back to life. And then there's whatever they're going to do with the phantom drain and what impact that has. So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. All right, take care. Bye.